Welcome back to another edition of The Dirty Truth. I appreciate you guys for joining me again for this second episode. What I want to talk about today is domestic terrorism. And I want you to just roll with me for a little bit. Domestic terrorism. Let's just Google search domestic terrorism. You get the committing of terrorist acts in the perpetrator's own country against their fellow citizens. I want to watch a couple of videos and you tell me if you think this is domestic terrorism or not. First video is a shooting. It was a 15-year-old teen shot at Six Flags over Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
18-year-old will face charges after a shooting over the weekend near Six Flags. It left him in the hospital. The GBI says that teen was shot by a Cobb County police officer.
11 Alive's Molly Oak live outside the park tonight in Austell. So, Molly, we know this shooting is still under investigation.
Yeah, and as we've been out here, we've watched Cobb County police officers join us out here as well. You can see for perspective, the park is behind me. Across the street, you see a couple of leftover cars. Earlier, more crime scene unit Cobb County police cars out here. Right now, I'm watching as officers off camera are taking photos of this wooded area across from the park. But earlier, they tell me they were doing an article search. So that basically means officers and a K-9 were out here looking for any weapons that could have been thrown after the shooting the other night in hopes of finding them before anyone else does. Now, I want you to take a look at your screen because Cobb County Police also tells me the 15-year-old will face a handful of charges. And the key word there is will. Aggravated assault being one of them, aggravated assault on a police officer as well, possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, also possession of a firearm under 18, and finally interference with government property. Again, I say he will be charged because the GBI says he's still in the hospital in critical condition, and police say they have a warrant for his arrest, and he will be arrested on the pending charges once he's discharged from the hospital. Now, this all comes after a fight involving dozens of people happened over at Six Flags over Georgia on Saturday. Now, the GBI, who is investigating, says Cobb County police officers were called in to help with the crowd control after there were fights as people were leaving the park. It says at some point multiple people began shooting and hit a marked police car with no one inside. Officers ran after people who ran into the woods. During all of this, the GBI says a Cobb police officer shot and hit a 15-year-old boy and then later found a gun near him. Now, you're getting a live look at some of those officers right now. If you can come back to me, we do know that we also asked Six Flags if the park was looking at increasing security or changing any type of protocol following the fight that happened on property and then the shooting that happened off property. All Six Flags would tell us is that the GBI is investigating.
Now, based on the definition we looked at earlier, would you classify this as domestic terrorism? I say yes. I say yes. I think a lot of the innocent people that were at Six Flags on opening day to enjoy time with their friends and loved ones, I think those people were terrorized from hearing gunshots at an amusement park. And I'm not looking at the motive of the people that caused the disturbance. I'm looking at what was the result of the people who had to endure it. And if those people were terrorized, I'm calling the people who caused this domestic terrorists. I have another video. This is from Los Angeles. This was in August, about 6 months ago. Take a look at this and let me know if you think this is domestic terrorism.
Dozens of masked shoplifters caught on video swarming the Topanga Mall Nordstrom in a coordinated attack on the store. Mayor Karen Bass calling for all of them to be held accountable. As many as 30 people, including men and women, snatching tens of thousands of dollars worth of luxury items, leaving the store in shambles. I'm Michelle Fisher.
And I'm Jory Rand. This is Eyewitness News at 11. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell has the latest on this brazen heist, along with reaction from the mayor tonight.
Glass shattering, racks and fixtures knocked to the ground. A large crew of thieves caught on cell phone video racing through a Nordstrom store at the Westfield Topanga Mall in Canoga Park, smashing display cases, scooping up armloads of expensive bags and clothing. Stunned and frightened shoppers running from the store.
We were sitting having coffee, and all of a sudden we saw so many people running out of the store. We were not in the store. We were at the entry of the store. So many people coming out. We didn't know. We thought it's a bomb or something.
I really didn't understand at first what was going on, and then I realized what was really happening when all the security, everybody was going, into the one area.
The robbery happened just after 4.
So you heard the lady saying that she didn't understand what was going on, then she realized what was going on. But she didn't say if she was afraid or not. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say this scene causes fear, aka terror, in regular citizens doing what they should be doing.
4 p.m., a mob of 20 to 30 male and female suspects wearing masks and hoodies seen snatching merchandise, running out of Nordstrom and...
This is ridiculous, and it's happening more and more and more each and every day. Domestic terrorism. Teenagers and young adults are the new domestic terrorists. And I have another video here in the Atlanta market, high school, McEachin High School. This happened a few weeks ago in February. And this video is basically about what should be done about this type of behavior.
High school has parents taking action.
They met tonight to talk about the safety of their children. Fox 5's Denise Dillon is live in Powder Springs tonight. Denise, this isn't the first time we've heard from these parents either.
That's right. This is the second town hall since the shooting. Last week, we heard from angry parents about their concerns. Tonight, it was all about, what do we do now?
It was terrifying. As a concerned mom, I was absolutely afraid of his safety, not just his, but all of the kids here at McEachin.
McEachin High School parents are still rattled over a shooting in the school parking lot 2 weeks ago during school hours. This video that circulated on social media is now part of the Cobb County Police investigation, and it shows a fight that escalated into gunfire. 2 people were shot.
They don't have a plan in place for when something like this happens.
Concerned parents came to this town hall to talk about what can be done to keep our kids safe.
Now, I want you guys to listen to the suggestions that people have raised to help curb the violence at these high schools in this example. But it's a broader issue, and I want you to see if you feel the same way I feel about it.
I want to make sure that this school is placing the proper action steps in place to ensure that the kids in our community are safe.
School board member Trey Hutchins talked about the suggestion.
Now, that was extremely vague. She said she wants to make sure that they're putting the proper things in place to make sure our children are safe. What does that mean? What are the proper things being put in place? How much do they cost? More security, more police officers? Who's going to pay for it? And who's at the root cause of these issues? And what is their responsibility for it?
He's received from parents in the last week, which included a vulnerability assessment of the campus, having a command center to monitor cameras, and technology to detect weapons at large sporting events and on campus day to day.
Our stadiums are filled to capacity. And so one of the requests was so that we start looking at technology to assist us with detecting guns and weapons for those large events. There's technology out there.
Okay. I'm not going to play the rest of the video. He's basically saying use technology to solve the problem. I take that back. I will play some more of the video because there's a parent at the end that says something interesting, and I want to get to that. So let's Let's play this a little
where we
more.
just don't necessarily have to pull the trigger of making high schools look like a prison and having metal detectors.
What the issue is, and let's see how we could come together as parents, as a community, to support the school and to ultimately keep our children safe.
Okay, she said, we all know what the issue is. What can we come up as parents and as a community to keep our children safe? Let's talk about that for a second. What can we come up with? Is this a societal issue? Did society create the problem, or should society solve the problem? What I'm about to say is going to be extremely controversial. I'm going to say parenting begins prior to conception. And when two people that should not be parents get together and create a child, this is ultimately going to be the end result en masse. Because it's not just one or two here. And with the advent of social media, all of this is being exposed. This could have been as bad as it is today 30 years ago. Who knows? We didn't have social media 30 years ago. But now that we know, due to social media, there's a bigger problem here, and nobody's addressing it. When I hear all these stories and see all these news reports and videos about incidents between teens and young adults using firearms and causing domestic terrorism, and that's what I'm going to call it, domestic terrorism. We don't hear anything about the parenting piece. The responsibility that people have prior to making a child and raising that child to be an upstanding member of the community. I'm going to get nerdy here. We're supposed to have access to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Meaning, you have the right to live. You have the right to be as free as society will let you. And you have the right to pursue happiness. But if someone else's offspring is hindering your ability to have those three things, then that person is therefore a terrorist. Your responsibility as an adult, if you're going to reproduce, well, first of all, your responsibility as an adult in the United States is to be a responsible member of the community and not be a negative influence on the community. And if you're going to have children, your responsibility is to duplicate yourself. So if you're a responsible, upstanding citizen, if you decide to have children, your new responsibility is to raise that child up to be a responsible citizen and not be a negative influence on society. If you cannot do that, then you should not be having kids. Those two people that laid down and created domestic terrorists, they shouldn't be doing it. But we can't legislate morality, so I don't know what's going to be done. I didn't make this video because I have the solutions. I'm just pointing out the issue that no one ever says on these videos, on these news stories. Fatherless homes, for example. No one ever says it. Never hear it. The reason this is happening is because two people laid down, made a child. That child is not given the tools needed to be successful, and this is the result of it. This is the result of it. Terrorism. Domestic terrorism from teens and young adults. If you agree, comment below. If you think I'm off, tell me I'm off. I don't have all the answers. I'm not willing to listen. But if you have a solution, I definitely want to hear this. Outside of the people that made these domestic terrorists not doing it, and how do you force them to not do it if you can't legislate morality? Then what's the answer? Do we keep building more jails, hire more prison guards, juvenile officers? Is that the solution? Because that's not free. Your taxes are going to go up to pay for the salary insurance, benefits, facilities, food, medication for these inmates. So it's not free. Let me know what you think about it below. I appreciate you for tuning into this episode of The Dirty Truth. I appreciate you. Subscribe. I just started the channel, trying to grow it, but I'm going to try to bring things that you, me, and all of us are interested in. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.